Over the past week, we've seen a ton of news coming from Xbox, and it's definitely a great week for all of us in the Xbox camp. With the likes of the GTA 6 trailer, new games being announced alongside the leaks of the Xbox and Asus Handheld, there's a ton for us to cover today. So with that, my name is Fletcher, and this is Xbox Nation. If you're new here or just returning, I cover everything from Xbox news, reviews and updates every single day. So make sure you're subscribed down below to keep up to date with everything in Team Green. With that out the way, let's dive right into the massive games and updates coming your way. First up, I have some very big news for all of you today, including two games which have been announced for Xbox, with one of them coming very soon. First up, we finally got word that Killing Floor 3 now has a confirmed release date, and the upcoming Zed-slaying Xbox title will release on the 24th of July, following a very shaky beta period that actually took place back in February. Prior to that beta getting into the hands of the public though, Killing Floor 3 was actually set to grace the Xbox Series X and S consoles in March of this year, but thanks to some mixed feedback on what the sequel was actually delivering, led the team to rethink its launch strategy. This was due to community feedback, including concerns about everything from design, artwork, UI and animations, and Tripwire Interactive says all of these areas have now been addressed for the game's new release date as of July. You can probably expect lots of post-launch updates down the line as well, as Killing Floor 2 was supported for years and years after it first released. Will you be trying out Killing Floor 3 on release, or will you wait for reviews? Do let me know down below. Then we had the surprise for all of us Xbox fans thanks to Sega, as they held their Virtua Fighter 2025 broadcast at EVO this last week. They announced that the studio behind the Yakuza games will be bringing Virtua Fighter 5 Revo to both Xbox Series consoles upon launch. Sega says that it will be sharing more details about these console versions very soon, and it's going to include even more content to make this much more than a simple port. That's all I know for now, but if you want to hear more about this, I will update you as soon as possible, so make sure you're subscribed down below. Now, we have been waiting quite some time to hear more about the Xbox and Asus Handheld, but we've seen quite a few leaks come out for this past week. It looks like Xbox were actually beaten by the punch in revealing this device, as there was a leak via the FCC, actually revealing a couple of photos and some initial details about this future handheld. As reported by Video Cards, Asus is set to reveal two new ROG Ally models in the near future, including one that very clearly has an Xbox button on the left-hand side, and this is believed to actually be the Xbox Handheld, otherwise known as Keenan. The other ROG Ally device is actually believed to be the standard ROG Ally 2, but the report suggests that the Xbox Handheld will actually be more powerful, featuring a Ryzen Z2 Extreme processor with 8 cores, complete with 64GB of DDR5 memory. This is still early days, and honestly, you can't really take any leaks with this with 100% certainty. But considering some of this information is actually coming from the FCC, I would have to say that this leak is pretty legitimate at this point. The release date for the Xbox Handheld has been predicted by many, including myself, as June 2025, but this is still not a guarantee. The prediction though is actually based that the two previous ROG Ally devices were actually launched in June of their respective years, so no doubt we'll either see a reveal very soon, or at least a release date this summer. I still think the device will actually be revealed and shown off at the Xbox Showcase this June, with the device being revealed and also pre-orders going live as of the event ending. What do you think about the new Xbox Handheld being leaked? Do you like the idea of it being an Asus Xbox Handheld PC, or are you waiting for a more traditional Xbox device having the Xbox OS and no need to actually delve into a sort of Steam library? You'll have to let me know your thoughts down below and if you're going to pick this one up. Obviously, the biggest news of the past week was the fact that we got the reveal of the GTA 6 trailer, and I have to say, it looks absolutely phenomenal. Out of nowhere, once again, Rockstar Games released its second trailer for GTA 6, which is now due to be released for the Xbox Series X and S consoles on the 26th of May 2026. Obviously, I can't really show any snippets of the trailer, so I'll chuck up a few photos on screen now instead, as Rockstar really do love to copyright anything relating to their trailers. We also had a bit more info to accompany the trailer and the images on screen now. So essentially this one will follow both Jason and Lucia as they find themselves on the darkest side of the sunniest place in America, and the pair of them are about to tear up the state of Leonardo, featuring the legendary Vice City. The trailer itself though treated us to a broader look at what to expect from the next Grand Theft Auto, which at this point is probably the most anticipated video game in all of history. I must admit that so far from the trailer and also the images, every single glimpse of this world is making me even more excited, and it's really showing the talent that Rockstar have on offer, especially in the visuals department. Obviously, a big debate going online alongside this trailer though is if we'll see 60 FPS within the game at launch, especially on consoles. For me personally, I still think this is going to be a solid 30 FPS experience, but I'll be interested to see if they do add performance mode. Rockstar are usually incredibly good at optimizing and also pushing the performance of every single game they've made, but I'll be keen to hear your thoughts on it down below. Incredibly, and I can't even believe it myself, is that Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 actually came out over 1 year ago now. But of course, developer Ninja Theory is working on their next 2 projects, with one actually being teased very recently over on their social media page. You can see with the tweet on screen now, where the team have gathered together to examine the progress of their upcoming project. Fans are obviously trying to see beyond that blur though and reveal their observation, but surely it's pretty impossible. I think there's a pretty good amount of speculation for one game in particular. So do you remember Project Mara? Well, Ninja Theory revealed that game all the way back in January of 2020, and we basically heard nothing since in the recent years. It has been described as a real-world and grounded representation of mental terror that aims to recreate the horrors of your mind. It might not be that though. Around this time in 2024, it was also reported that Ninja Theory's next game has also been greenlit, and that was in addition to Project Mara. So it sounds like a very busy time for this Xbox studio right now. What do you think this next game could be? Personally, I'm really excited for Project Mara, but I'd be keen to hear your thoughts. Now, in a bit of interesting news this week, if you're someone who likes to play Xbox cloud gaming on your console, then we have some very big news for you, as Xbox have now rolled out the ability to play certain games with mouse and keyboard via cloud gaming on your Xbox consoles. And this feature is being added right now and should be available to every single user within the coming weeks. Xbox insiders in the alpha skip ahead ring will get to test this first, with the feature allowing you to select a number of titles with your mouse and keyboard on Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and also the Xbox Series S. So far, I've actually spotted around 50 plus games getting this functionality via Xbox Cloud Gaming, including the likes of Halo Infinite, Sea of Thieves, Fortnite, and so much more. Of course, there's a much more substantial list of Xbox games with mouse and keyboard support if you want to play them natively on your Xbox console, and hopefully we do see a full list of these new cloud titles in the near future. Again, if you'd rather play via the cloud, this feature will roll out to all Xbox users at some point over the coming weeks. For me personally, the biggest news and the most exciting news coming out of this week was the official gameplay reveal of Mafia: The Old Country. You can get your hands on this new Mafia title on the 8th of August this year, and I've thrown up the brand new trailer on screen now for you to enjoy. Just like 2020's Mafia Definitive Edition remake though, The Old Country is sporting some lovely visuals here, this time placed in a more old school rural setting in Sicily in the 1900s. The remake's satisfying combat mechanics also seem to have made their way over, of course with some 2025 enhancements. Driving is back as well, a staple of the Mafia franchise, alongside what appears to be plenty of traversal on good old horseback, which will prove something of a different vibe than the more Mafia settings that we've known in recent times. Something else that's slightly different as well is that the team is opting for a more linear experience this time around, and one that's also priced at just $50. I love that we're seeing more 10 to 20 hour linear experiences, especially at a low price point, and for me honestly, the visuals here look incredibly insane. Are you going to grab this new Mafia game when it launches this August, or will you be waiting for reviews nearer to launch? Now, I did want to highlight a very interesting bit of news for this week, especially as someone who on the odd occasion still picks up some physical games. There's been an interesting report that's come out this week, with Gamer Social Club receiving a statement from Xbox that there's no minimum order quantity for disc-based titles on the platform anymore. This has actually led to some confusion online about why so many developers, specifically of the indie variety, mentioned that they can't make physical versions of their Xbox games, and one developer in particular has chimed in about this over on social media. The solo creator behind 2023's Brock the Investigator mentioned over on Twitter that they explored the possibility of putting their game into physical format with Xbox, but ultimately determined that it was too complex. They advised that it's basically a job in itself, and they couldn't take the risk of not making their money back as well. In follow-up comments, they did advise that a limited run publisher Store does handle the PlayStation and Nintendo Switch physical versions for them, and Xbox needs something similar that's willing to accept small orders of Xbox units. However, they also mentioned that because their game isn't selling particularly well on either of these two platforms, they're not confident it would even sell beyond 500 physical copies for Xbox users. This is where the problem lies for so many developers and publishers, and the Brock creator admits that digital releases are so much easier and practical for devs compared to physical releases across all platforms. You can see where this is going though. When you combine the complexity of releasing physical games alongside the apparently poor sales of them on Xbox, many indies aren't going to justify a disc-based release these days. That goes for all platforms as we look into the near and further future, but Xbox is the one that makes most sense for digital-only titles right now. Are you excited about the upcoming Xbox Handheld, and are you going to pick one up at launch? Alongside that, how are you feeling about the GTA 6 trailer, and are you excited as well for the new Mafia the Old Country? You'll have to let me know your thoughts on this down below, as I love conversing with you about anything Xbox. Remember to also like this video if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more Xbox content like this every single day. I also did want to give a quick shout out to our channel members for your continued support, and if you want to become a member for exclusive emotes, videos early, shout outs and so much more, then click that join button down below, as it really does support me further in running this channel. Whilst here though, why don't you check out the video on screen now, as I covered the 18 brand new single player experiences coming to both Xbox and Game Pass in 2025.